Hello students. In this video we will start with the chapter Life Process in Living Organisms. Now you must have studied about digestion of the food, or when you inhale oxygen by our lungs, it is transported to every cell of the body. The farmers also tries to transport the water from well or dams through a main channel to every plant. So the food that is absorbed by the digestive system is converted into energy, and this energy and oxygen are both transported via the blood throughout the body. So in this chapter we'll be learning about the transportation, about the excretion, how it takes place, and also about coordination, that how it happens in plants and animals. Let us first start with the transportation process. So by the process of transportation, a substance can either be synthesized or it can be absorbed in one part of the body and it reaches to the other part of the body. So this is called as transportation, that is from one place to other place you are sending that thing. Now we'll start with the transportation of plant. So the most we know about plants is that plants, they cannot move. So how the transportation will happen in plants? Now, as plants require less energy as compared to animals, so plants need inorganic substances like nitrogen, phosphorus, magnesium, then they require sodium. So soil is the nearest and it is also the richest source of the substances. So roots of the plant, they absorb these substances from the soil and they transport them. So there are specific types of tissue, or we can say as the conducting system, which transport these things. So we have the xylem, which conducts the water, and we have the phloem, which conducts the food. So these are the two conducting tissues, or you can say the conducting system in plants, that is the xylem and the phloem. Now the water or the nutrients that is absorbed from the roots and is transferred to all the other parts of the body, it is through xylem. So xylem is usually used to transfer the water, all the nutrients from roots to other parts of the body of the plant. And next we have the phloem. Phloem is used to prepare the food, where the food is prepared in the leaves, and that food which is prepared in the form of carbohydrates or glucose, so that glucose can be transferred from the leaf to different part of the plants through the phloem. Now, how does the root absorbs the nutrients or water and it transfers to different part of the plant? So that is through a process that is called as root pressure. So there are root cells which are in contact with the water and minerals in the soil, and water and minerals enter into the cells and on the root surfaces, and there is also a difference of concentration, because of which when the water enters there happens a difference of concentration. So these cells, they become swollen, they become turgid, and these turgid cells, they exert pressure on the adjacent cell, and this is called as the root pressure. Now, as there is a pressure which is created, so under the effect of this pressure, the water and the minerals, they all reach to the xylem by the roots through the root cells. And to reduce this difference in concentration, they are continuously pushed forward, and from each block they keep on moving forward, and as a result there is always a continuous movement of the water which is happening. So there is a water column which is formed where the continuous movement take place, which is pushed ahead, and this pressure is almost sufficient for the plant to lift the water upwards. Even in small plants also, or in small trees also, they have this type of pressure. So that is why all of this pressure that is created for the water to being transported to upward direction through the xylem is called as the root pressure, the pressure which is created on the roots because of the difference in concentration. Next, we will be learning about the transpiration pull, or we can also call it as the transpiration in plants. Now, whatever water is being absorbed by the plant through roots, they reach to the upper part of the plant. Now, that water which reaches to the upper part of the plant, the excess water should also be thrown out of the plant, and that process is called as transpiration. So plants give out water in the form of vapor through the stomata on their leaves. Two cells are called as the guard cells, and they are present on both sides of the stomata. Now these cells control the opening and closing of the stomata. Transpiration occurs through these stomata. Now water is released into the atmosphere by leaves through the process of evaporation, and this is the reason why the water level in the epidermal layer of the leaf decreases. Then again the water is brought up by the xylem. Now transpiration helps in absorption of water and minerals and for the distribution to all parts of the plants. So this process plays a very important role to maintain the water balance in the plants. So we can say that transpiration is the absorption of water and minerals and distribution to different parts of the plants, whereas the root pressure, it is an important role. It plays a very important role in pushing the water up during the night time. Now the food that is produced in the leaf, it is transported to each cell in the plant body, and the excess food except the amino acid is stored in the roots, fruits and seed, and this process is called as translocation. So translocation is the storage of food material into the roots, fruits and seed. Now it is carried out both in the upward and the downward direction, and this process is done with the help of phloem. Now the transportation of material is not a simple physical process, but it requires energy also. So energy is obtained from the ATP. So as this process helps in the transportation of food material, we call this process as translocation, and it takes place through phloem. Our next life process is excretion. Now the harmful and the waste substances like uric acid or urea, ammonia, they are all produced in the body of the living organism. These substances, if they accumulate in our body for a very long time, it can cause serious injuries to our body. So it is important that these harmful substances and the waste material should be thrown out of the body. Now different organisms have different method of doing this. The removal of waste or harmful material from a body is called as excretion. Now unicellular organisms, they throw the waste material directly and it is eliminated across the cell surface, but the process of excretion in us or in plants or any multicellular organism, it is little bit complex. Now, excretion in plant is a simpler process that in animals. There are no special organs or system for excretion in plants. The gaseous substances which are produced in plants, we all know that different gaseous substances are produced in the plants due to different various processes like photosynthesis. So, these different gases which are produced, they are given out by diffusion, and most of the waste substance of the plant, they are stored in the vacuoles of the leaf cells. Inside the leaf we have leaf organelles. So inside the organelles, the cell organelles, inside the vacuole, all the waste material is stored. That is why the vacuole of the leaf is very large. Now it is stored in vacuole or in flowers or fruits, or sometimes even on the bark of the stem. And after some time, these parts, they fall off. So these are the waste materials which are produced. Now in some plants, the waste material is also produced in the form of resin and gum. And some waste material are also given out through roots into the surrounding soil. Coming to excretion in human beings, so there are different organ systems in human body for different life processes, and for excretion also we have a different organ system that we have, and we call it as excretory system. The human excretory system, it consists of pair of kidneys, pair of ureters, urinary bladder and the urethra. The urine is formed by the kidneys by the separating the waste and unwanted excess substance from the blood, and then it is passed through the urethra. Now there are two bean-shaped kidneys as they are situated on both sides of the vertebral column. The function unit of the kidney that performs the basic function of the filtration is the nephron. So nephron plays an important role in the functioning of the kidneys. And here in the picture you can also see that how the different organelles which are there, the different organs, they are all connected to each other, and how the organs are each connected, and the urine then passes from one organ to the other organ and then is given out of the body. So this is the diagram of the nephron. The nephron, which is also called as the basic unit which helps in filtration of the blood. So each nephron has a cup-like thin walled upper part that is called as the Bowman's capsule. There are also network of capillaries in it which is called as the glomerulus. The urea produced in the liver, it comes into the blood. Then the urea containing blood, it comes into the glomerulus. It is filtered through its capillaries, and urea and the other similar substances are separated. So the water molecules and small molecules of some other substances can cross the Bowman's capsule because it is a semi-permeable membrane. So the solution accumulated in the cavity of the Bowman's capsule, it passes into the tubular part of the nephron. Here, the molecules of water and some other substances are reabsorbed into the blood. Urine is formed from the remaining solution, which is full of the waste material. Now the urine is carried by the ureters and is stored in the urinary bladder. So when the urinary bladder is full, as it is a muscular organ and it is under the control of nerves, so we are able to keep the control of the urination. So this is the reason that our urinary bladder, it stores the urine for around some time, that is around 1 to 1.9 liters of urine can be stored, and when your urinary bladder is full, then it is given out and it is thrown out from the body. Now, in some people, the efficiency of the kidneys can be adversely affected by some injury or some infection or decreased blood supply. So, in these cases, an excess of toxic substances, they starts to accumulate in the body, and in some people it can also lead to death. So, if kidneys fail, the nitrogenous waste are separated from the blood with the help of a man-made machine. And this process of separating the nitrogenous waste from the blood, that is called as dialysis. And about 500 ml of blood is sent in at one time through the machine. It is purified and is again reinfused into the body of the patient. So this is how the waste can be removed in the people in those the kidneys are not functional.